Welcome to MANN-O-LOGUES. I'm Dr. Sundra Mann, the creator and host. MANN-O-LOGUES is where life and leadership converge. Enjoy the journey and thank you for listening to MANN-O-LOGUES. Welcome to MANN-O-LOGUES. My name is Dr. Sundra Mann. I am the creator and host. MANN-O-LOGUES is a conversation of life and leadership, leadership and life. I am so excited to have with me Dr. Troy Boddy. Dr. Troy Boddy is an equity expert, he is an educator, and he is a community builder. Welcome, Dr. Boddy.
Thank you, Dr. Mann. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. So listen, before we get started, tell us about this amazing space that we are in. Where are we? What's happening here? And how are you involved?
Well, we are in my hometown of Sandy Spring, Maryland. And we are located specifically in the Sandy Spring Slave Museum and African Art Gallery. So this place was established by Dr. Winston Anderson in 1988, who came to the area. He was invited by a friend, and he started talking to the people. It was a little more country back then, so it reminded him of Jamaica. So as he interacted with mostly my cousins, because we all related back here, he learned the rich history of Sandy Spring. And some of that history involves being the first free black community in Montgomery County. So the Quakers came here in 1728, and with them they brought their enslaved people, which many people don't know that the Quakers did practice slavery at some point. But around 1776, they decided this went against their religion and began to free their enslaved people over a period of time, but well before the 13th Amendment. So you have this free black community, all these free black folks who were in the process of acquiring land. Of course, they wanted to get educated, so they built and praise the Lord. So they built Sharp Street Church, which is the oldest church in Montgomery County, oldest black church in Montgomery County. And then they built the Sharp Industrial School, and they built the Odd Fellows Lodge. So this community, you know, Frederick Douglass came through here, and other really famous folks, you know, I always say it's sort of like Harlem back in the Harlem Renaissance, because, you know, but most of our ancestors stayed here because where else are you going to go? Unless you were going to go to North, which was still, you would still have to deal with many of the same things. So they stayed right here. And to this day, our families still live in this community. And this museum tells the history of our ancestors from Africa through slavery, and everything after. We say from the White House, from the spaceship to the White House and beyond.
Yes, amazing. So if someone wanted to support the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and Gallery, how would they do that?
Go to sandyspringsslavemuseum.org and click on our donation tab, and all the information is right there for you. We take credit cards. You can come in and buy a membership. We're open on the weekends from 11 to 4. $10 for adults, $5 for children, seniors, and veterans.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so let's get into this conversation about life and leadership and how they reciprocate, right? So there's this amazing building just across the street here from the museum. It is the Ross Boddy Recreation Center, right? So that's also your last name. So I did a little research and I was looking at the legacy of Dr. Ross Boddy. And what I realized is that his leadership, his legacy, is documented to include a man that was focused on education, mentorship, advocacy, community, and social justice. But I also know that's also your legacy. So tell us about who Ross Boddy was, but more importantly, how those things translate to the way that you lead.
Mhm. So Ross Boddy was my daddy. And he was one of those figures who was and still is, for many people in the community, bigger than life. But he was my daddy. And all those things that it entailed. But we grew up, there are 9 of us all together.
Okay.
I'm in the middle. So we watched him. I remember some of my earliest memories of school were going to Sherwood High School for Head Start.
Yeah.
Because in those days, there weren't enough kids in need for the program. So they opened it up to anybody. Like, you know, if your parents had money, you just paid for your kids to go.
Yeah.
A lot has changed, you know, over those years. But I remember sitting in his office. He was the community coordinator then, sitting on his desk before school and then after. And I think my mom would come and pick me up and take me home. So we spent a lot of time together. But going back before that, he came here roughly in the 1930s, like 34, 35. And just like Dr. Anderson, he came here with a friend. He was attending Bowie Normal School to get his education to be a teacher. Now, what's interesting is in those days, colored teachers only got a certificate.
Wow.
So you got 2 years worth of education, and that's all that was required of black teachers back then. Now, you could go off and you could get a full 4-year degree, but you know, a lot of our people didn't have that money, and segregation, as far as they knew, wasn't going anywhere. So it was able to meet the needs for their communities. So he came here, fell in love with Sandy Spring. He always said it was a garden spot because everybody had beautiful lawns and yards. So he fell in love with the community, moved here, and he was married. So he had he was married before he married my mom, and so she was an educator as well. And they had 2 daughters, my older sisters, and really became a part of the community. Like educators, you know, most black folks who grew up, especially during segregation, you lived in the community you taught in, you went to church in the community you taught in, so there were all these interactions. So I grew up with these stories of inequity.
Yes.
We also grew up with every black history book known to mankind at that time. So we had a decent understanding, and we knew our family history.
Yes.
So going into education, I taught in Langley Park, partly because I didn't want to come to Montgomery County because the Boddy name
Yes.
in education.
All the weight.
So I wanted to be successful on my own terms.
Okay.
So I taught in Prince George's for 9 years. My principal, Dr. Pat Kelly, hired me. She saw something.
Okay.
I came in applying for a 4th, 5th grade position, and she thought it would be cute to have a male in 1st grade.
Yes. Okay.
I taught 1st grade,
Yeah.
but fell in love with it.
Yes.
And culturally, the kids were, you know, different. There were some black children, but it was mostly Latino students,
Yes.
and mostly newcomers to the country
Okay.
because of the wars that were going on in Central America. So it started to open my eyes, and I'm sure you heard this as a teacher too, the negative talk about students
Yes.
and their
Yes.
families and what they
Yes.
can, what they care
Yes.
about, what they don't care about.
Yes.
That's not based on real information.
Deficit thinking.
Right.
Yes.
And so I started hearing that, and you know, it's easy to get caught up in that, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
But I stopped myself because I remember those stories.
Okay.
I knew that as an educator, these kids had one shot,
Yeah.
and that was me.
That was you.
at least in first grade.
Yes.
Later on, I went to a school where I taught multi-age down the street.
Okay.
So I taught kindergarten, first, second, and third grades all at the same time. So I had
You
my
were
kids
brave.
for 4 years.
Okay, you were brave.
It
All
was
right.
hard, but one of the best things I ever did, because what I learned from that is that kids, we have those timelines. Oh, kids by the end of second grade are supposed to know.
Yeah,
That don't work for everybody.
exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with the kid.
Yeah,
They just need time
Yes.
and good instruction.
yeah.
And so it taught me a lot about how kids learn.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me a lot about how our perceptions of kids can be uplifting. It can
Yes.
open doors,
Yes.
or it can close doors for kids. Because if we get in and see a kid not progressing at those benchmarks,
Yes.
then there's something wrong with, no,
Yeah.
sometimes it's us. Sometimes I don't know enough. So knowing those stories, knowing that this is their one shot, and then the added responsibility, I was your teacher for 4 years. So if you don't know how to read, whose fault is that? And you're not going to leave my class not knowing how to read, do math, think
Yes.
critically, and be excited about school. So that wasn't even an option. So
Accountability.
right.
Accountability
Yeah.
is something that's lacking
Right.
in leadership right now.
we talk
Yes.
about being accountable.
Yes.
You keep your kids for multiple years.
Yes.
You're going to be accountable.
Yes.
It's going to, and it's going to cause you to learn.
Yeah.
So, though that was one of the main lessons which really influenced the rest of my career,
Yes.
those stories.
Uh-huh.
The second thing was really, I knew my culture,
Okay.
and I could bring it into the space. I brought
Okay.
books in,
Yes.
you know, so kids were exposed to multiple things, and then it hit me. I was like, my Latino kids need to see themselves too.
Yes.
So I made a concerted effort to also begin, and that's still very surface level,
Yes.
but some people don't even get to that point.
You're right. Yes.
And so bringing in things from their various cultures, and really the main thing that I took out of that experience in Prince George's was relationships.
Okay.
Because again, because you had your kids for 4 years, I had their
Yes.
parents for 4 years.
Yes.
So I was their third parent.
Yes.
And so if Mr. Boddy said, oh, good or bad, they were on it.
Yes.
And even up until the point that some of my kids were in high school,
Wow.
their parents would reach out to me.
Yeah.
I remember one mom, one of my favorite students, Victor, she was like, Mr. Boddy, I need you to talk to Victor. Okay. He had moved over to Montgomery County at the time. I was a principal at that point. And I was like, Victor, it's good to hear from you. What's going on? Your mom sounds worried about you. Mr. Boddy, I got all A's and 1 B. I was like, is that it? I was like, okay, I'm proud of you, but do what your mama says.
Right.
But it was a nice conversation, and that just, it meant the world to me that they still thought enough about me to reach out.
Absolutely.
And that's what education is
Yeah.
all about.
Yes.
So that going deeper in understanding my students and their backgrounds and their experiences
Yes.
and their parents' experiences, and building those relationships really were the first spark to my equity work.
Yes.
That planted the seed. And then, going on, I came to Montgomery County. I had the opportunity to go to central office as a staff development specialist. And I got such a warm welcoming. No, I didn't. They were mad that this black man.
A little bit sarcasm. Okay, right.
It was my introduction to the system that I would call home for the next 21 years. But they
Right.
were mad because they thought I took their seat.
Oh.
They thought, how could this teacher, this black teacher from Prince George's County, know more about teaching and learning and professional learning
Yes.
than they did?
Yes.
And what I came to find at the first year after I just questioned, I was like, maybe this wasn't a good decision for me.
Okay.
Maybe I should have stayed in a place where I felt nurtured, where I felt I was making a difference, where I was respected as a person.
Yes.
And then I found out that in Montgomery County, it was all a facade. That, you know, I was in a classroom one time and they were doing this lesson. It was a third grade lesson. Third grade was one of my favorite grades in school.
Okay.
Shout out to Miss Robinson. But the lesson this teacher was doing was the same lesson I did in third grade. I would talk about guided reading and
Yes.
leveled books, and they
Yes.
would look at me like I was absolutely crazy or had two heads.
Right.
And after a year, I was like, they don't know what I'm talking about because
Yes.
they're not doing that.
Yes.
They're not there yet.
Yes.
But it created an opportunity for me because I knew how to do those things. I was a reading
Yes.
recovery teacher. My kids left my classroom reading.
Yes.
No matter what language they were speaking, they could read, and usually above grade level. And so that situated me in a place where I could help roll out the new curriculum. And so I over time, I built up my street cred
Yes.
with them folks,
Yes.
and was able to navigate through the system and had a pretty good time. But again, growing up black and leading one
Yes.
black,
Yes.
you know, my experience growing up here was just invaluable because I knew what to expect.
Yes.
I knew not to get my feelings hurt when they came after me or when they questioned my intelligence,
Yeah.
or which was, and I'm sure you've experienced that too, was an ongoing thing from the
Yes.
moment I stepped into a classroom
Woo.
until the time I left.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
which is one of the reasons I did leave,
Yeah.
because leadership is hard and it takes a toll on you, especially when you care.
Yes.
Because there are so many leaders out there that do it for the title, and that's it.
Yes.
They're not doing it to serve, and so, and or people who think they know more than they actually do,
Yes.
and so. Once you feel that your value, your knowledge is constrained, it's time to free yourself
Yes. Yes.
and go do those things that you know you can do and make a difference in the places that, you know, are ready and want it.
You're right.
So
Oof.
there's a lot, there's so much, I mean, there's so much. Going my first week in the classroom,
Yes.
you know, you're excited, you're fixing up your room, I'm hanging my bulletin boards up. This teacher comes in, a white lady, and it's so funny because we're really good friends now.
Yes.
But she came in with this water gun and shot me up, got my stuff all wet.
Oh.
She's like, oh, I thought you were one of the building service workers, Troy. I was like, I'm Troy, but I'm a first grade teacher. And I was in my field, I'm getting ready to lose my job
Yes.
the first day because
Yes.
I had to hold myself back because I'm like, so we're always reminded of who you are,
Yes.
which is why it's so important. And what I love about this museum, especially when kids come here and see themselves. They come here and they see themselves. Some of them hear their language. Some of them recognize art from their various countries. Some of them remember and connect to stories that they might have heard from their parents or grandparents. Some of them to lessons they've learned in school. But that's the power. It's like the more you know, like I don't know if my father and my mom knew they were giving us a shield of protection
Yes.
by knowing our history, knowing who we came from.
A superpower.
Uh-huh. So you can say all the stuff you want to. I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be as excellent as I can be every day. And I'm still going to stay focused on my mission, which was educating students, adults, and trying to bring the community together in different
Yes.
ways.
Remarkable. So what I hear is that you provide an opportunity for students to be seen, heard, valued, and empowered. And some of the leadership lessons that I heard were accountability, relationships, trust building, and just really perseverance.
Because it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard leading
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
And then you put on race
Yes.
and gender and
Yes.
any other, factors of diversity on top of that.
Yes.
People, there are no books that talk about how black women
Yes.
specifically, or very few,
Yes.
move through this stuff.
Yes.
There are very few books about black folks in general and leadership.
Yeah.
And people forget that. So when you know yourself, you know what's missing, so you go after it.
Yes.
So that's the other thing, is like being that perpetual learning that meets your needs. I was mentoring a young man about college. It's like, I just don't know if I'm getting anything. You know, my professors, I don't feel my professors are, you know, filling my bucket. I was like, you got to fill your own bucket. I was like, sometimes you got to fill your own bucket. You know things. You're very intelligent.
Yeah.
School is for you. For you,
Yes.
it's about making connections so that you can go on and do some other stuff, things that people hadn't thought of, because they're trying to catch up to where you are. And so I've always been a believer. You know, I didn't wait for people to give me money to go to trainings. I'd just go.
Right. Right.
And I'd go because I was in charge then. You couldn't tell me if I wanted to skip a session. I could skip it if I wanted to, you know, if I didn't find it valuable. But I'm in control.
Yes.
And so you have to always put yourself, you can't control everything. There's a lot in leadership that you can't control, but in the things that you can,
Yeah.
control it. You know, make it your own. And that idea of, as a principal, I just remember going to a school, which was a pretty good school. They were doing all right. You know, they were doing all right for most kids, but not all kids.
Yes.
And so I just
That's
remember
the key.
that's the key. It's like, okay, you're doing good for all these kids over here, but what about these?
Yes.
And so, again, being able to see and say and interrupt patterns that you see, and always try to do it tactfully when you need to. Sometimes you got to go, just go there. But I remember the teacher's like, oh my gosh, we have about 22 kids in this school of 750 who are not achieving. And I looked at who they were, and it kind of followed mostly
Saw a
the
pattern,
pattern.
didn't
Right.
you?
And they weren't horrible, but they weren't living up to their potential. But so there are two stories there. So being able to roll up your sleeves.
Yes.
It's like I taught a school with all kids who fit these demographics, and they learned. So if a whole class, a whole school of kids that look like this can learn, there's no reason why they can't hear.
Yes.
And we're going to do this.
Right.
And so putting in, you know, like when I did equity work, and I used to tell people this all the time, you don't got to call it what it is.
Yeah.
If they're not ready for it,
Yeah.
my staff wasn't ready for that.
Yes.
But my leadership team, every decision we made was from the equity lens.
Yes.
Every policy we put in place, everything we did was through that lens, and they understood that.
Yeah.
Because I was always going to ask, is this representative of all our kids?
That's
Or
right.
all
That's
our
right.
kids, you know, rising to the occasion?
Yeah.
Asking simple questions transform that school, and engaging kids in the learning. We would do assemblies every year around our school improvement plan,
Yes.
and we present the kids the data, but we do it through a play or a musical. So everybody kind of started looking forward to these events that we would throw.
Yeah.
But throughout the year, you hear the kids talking about what we talked about there, what was important, using the language. And over time, the school went from, you know, performing like 80% on standardized tests to 90s. Everybody.
Yes.
So, and teachers, you know, once the kids start doing well, their chest puffs out, and it's like, okay, y'all take as much credit as you want for it, because that doesn't matter to me. What matters is now we're making a difference for these children that at one point people were saying they couldn't do it,
Yes.
or that they were a challenge,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you know, those kind of things. But it's also modeling for adults and encouraging them to be their best for kids.
Yes.
And so those, you know, at a school level, and even at a central office level, you know, being willing to do the hard work,
Yes.
because not everybody understands your vision.
Yes.
most people haven't, I was lucky enough to go to a HBCU.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
Shout out to all the HBCUs.
The house. But, again, but that's what you bring from there. You see all these excellent black folks.
Yes.
What you talking about?
Yes.
Black kids can't learn. What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but most people don't have that experience. So we have to model what that looks like and put the things in place so that
Yes.
they're doing the work that they don't even know they're doing or
Yes.
need.
Yes. So another leadership lesson that I heard was leading with courage. So leading by asking the hard, difficult, challenging questions, but also leading, being courageous enough to disrupt. And that's what I heard. So if you had to pick just one common thread that has run through your leadership, from classroom to the top organizational level, what would be that common thread that has run through your leadership?
So you and I both went through the AP or principalship training
Yes,
program,
yes.
and we have to write our vision,
Yes.
So one of mine was, and it was so controversial, so silly now looking back, but it was imagine the possibilities.
Wow.
So it is, and some people that I've worked with have always, that they have told me that I can see things that don't exist. And some of that's probably the artist in me,
Yes.
because I do art on this, it's one of my passions.
Yes.
So being able to look at a blank canvas and creating an image of something that may or may not exist. And so I've always approached my work, what if if we were able to do this?
Yes.
What if we were able to close the gap?
Yes.
What if across a whole large school district, we can at least have conversations about race and equity?
Yes.
What if?
What
Imagine the possibilities. So I think that's a thread that that I have carried with me throughout all the different things that I do. So leadership don't really work like
No,
that.
it does not.
So, and you bring yourself to leadership. So the other thing is being authentic.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I think about, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me, was working for Cheryl Pulliam at Oakland Terrace.
Yes.
She was authentically herself every day. And we had the best time working together. She used to tease me because she said I was all stiff and things. I was like, I didn't know you, until we started working together.
Right.
But once we did, we were night and day in some ways, but that night and day worked.
Yes.
And so, but the thing I gained from Cheryl was showing up as a black person
Yes.
with my black things,
Yes.
being my black self.
Yes.
And it was okay,
Yes.
because her students, her staff, and her community loved her authenticity.
Unapologetically.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's the other thing. Be yourself. Don't be fake.
Yes.
You got that's a whole lot
I
on top of the
love
weight of
it.
leadership
Yes.
to show up and do every day. So that you got to fake it sometimes, but
Yes.
be yourself.
I love it. So be authentic. Have a clear vision. And actually, someone told me earlier today, a little bit of fear is actually healthy.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you care.
Yep. Very true.
Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you retired.
I did.
You did. You did. You did. So you were charged with leading in a school district that serves nearly 200,000 students. As a person of color, as a male, and what has been one of the most successful school districts, not just in the state, but in the country, in one of the wealthiest parts of the country. So I'm sure you had some great resistance at times, right? How did you push past that resistance? But more importantly, what were the skills, right? So what were the leadership skills? Because I'm thinking that we're going to have some listeners who are currently experiencing resistance to change for whatever the reason, environmental, economic, social, racial, etc. What do you think are some of those essential skills that helped you to maybe not even push past the resistance, but navigate the change that you knew you had to lead in this environment?
It really does connect to our last conversation, is having a vision for it.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, and I know working with leaders in said district, you have people on a continuum. So you got to meet people where they are.
Yes.
And you have to realize everybody's not where you are and haven't been where you have been.
Yeah.
And so being real clear about what you needed it to look like. And there were some people that, oh, it has to be this. It has to be, no, it has to be this. Because I see it from where I was sitting, I saw it from a different perspective. And to bring everybody together, these are the moves we had to make. Not that I did everything perfectly, because I did not. But the big thing, one of the big things was being well-read. I followed someone who did a lot of research, and I had worked with closely. So I had enough knowledge going in to be able to back up what I did, what I said. But it was first, what do we need to move everybody in the same directions? If we do 5 things well,
Yes.
what are those 5 things that bring people, that levels the playing field, so we can have a conversation? And then how do I build from that? How do I extend people's knowledge and think about how this idea of educational racial equity connects with what they do and whatever their role was. So for my team as a leader, one of the things, this is everybody's work. And so even though it's been dismantled since over the last couple of years, I had administrators on my team, I had teacher level people on my team, I had support professional teachers, educators on my team, because it's everybody's work. So I needed everybody to see themselves and their ability to do this.
Yes.
I don't. If you're a paraeducator, you can still do this. There are things you can do.
Yes.
Your sphere of influence might look different, but there are things that you can do.
Yes.
And so, trying again model and practice what I preach, making sure that there was a vision there, and that a vision would evolve. And sometimes it was way ahead of where the system was, because again, most folks didn't get it beyond the superficial sense.
Yes. Yes.
You know, to say I'm an equity warrior, or this is equitable. It's much deeper than that, because you don't really have to talk about it if your policies are right.
Yeah.
You know, you just do it, and the results then flow. Yeah. So I think it's that clarity. It's meeting people where they are. It's building it over time. So it's a lot of persistence and perseverance.
That's right. That's right.
And focus, and making sure you get the right people on the bus. Like, I was always scouting for the next folks to be on the team through training sessions. I'm like, okay, let's invite this person to come and engage, help us do some training.
Yes.
Because again, you want to build that the pathway for someone else to do something that they didn't know they could do, or didn't think was a possibility.
Yes.
So it was interesting, because at one point we had this course that we called whiteness. We talked about whiteness in education
Yes.
and in larger society.
Yes.
And I remember meeting with this director of equity from New York, upstate. She's like, y'all are doing what? She couldn't even fathom
Right.
that
Right.
we were at that space where we could. But what was also funny is that there were certain folks in the community that heard that word and lost their minds.
Yeah.
So even just being prepared, so I knew at least once a year I was going to get something from them folks.
Yes. Yes.
Talking about why are you all talking about whiteness?
Yeah.
And I would always say, well, when we have a course on black males, black and brown girls,
Yeah.
Asian students, Latino students,
That's right. That's right.
nobody complains.
Nobody.
And it's not the whiteness that you think. And so they would ask for all this stuff. And I had a file. Just so it took me 10 minutes,
Yes.
all the resources we use. And I made sure to highlight that most of the books were written by white people. And I never heard anything else back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I don't know if the system sent it out the way I wrote it, but I didn't bite my tongue.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I don't know if they received it that way,
Yes.
but, it took me 5 minutes because, again, my focus has always been on doing the work, not fighting them folks.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm not spending time
No.
doing that
Yeah.
or convincing people.
Yes.
So I think the more clarity you have,
Okay.
the more vision you have for, in my case, it was equity, but it's always something, whatever leadership role you're in,
Yes.
making it work, almost at 3 levels: personal,
Yes.
what do I need to do and have in place so I don't lose my mind.
Yes.
I'm thinking about my team, and
As
then
great
the people,
leaders do. Yes.
and then the people who we touch or
Yes.
need to lead, and you have to do all 3 at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
And those needs will be very different, but you have to attend to them as a leader. And doing so will help you, because if you nurture good people, they're going to nurture you.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
And we need that sometimes.
We do need that.
Mm-hmm.
So among many things, again, some leadership lessons I heard were preparation, be prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perseverance, right? But also persistence. I heard succession planning, right? So leading, coaching, identifying, training up the next group of leaders.
Yep.
I heard some courage in there. But overarching, have a vision that is solid, that is clear, and that is compelling for others to want to come along with you.
Right.
Okay.
I think we did all right for the most part with that.
Okay. So listen, in this new land that you're navigating, do you have any initiatives, any projects, any new books that you'd like to share?
So a couple things. I always got a bunch of different pots. So I get the opportunity to present at different conferences and things, go into classrooms, because I've worked with so many teachers over the years. So still speaking with young children about fairness, equity, inclusion, and race, and helping teachers understand how, while they don't have to be experts on all this, they have to be aware of just certain things, and be in tune with their kids, so that they don't see the world through like skewed lenses.
Yes.
No matter where they are. So one of the first things I did, and it was actually here. I've been all my career. Everybody's like, "Oh, you need to," because of my artwork and those kind of things. Like, you need to write a children's book. I didn't have time. It was always here, but I never had time to do it. I was just working and sleeping, and have fun every now and then, go on a good trip.
Right. It's going through the
Yeah,
process,
it's just, so once you get off that treadmill and you have to find yourself
Yes.
and recenter yourself.
Yes.
Luckily, I was already established here,
Mm-hmm.
but I was here with my one of my cousins who has written several children's books.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to really do a children's book. And I know I want it to be about Black history. In fact, I want it to be about this museum.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, okay, let's do this. And we began to just meeting and talking through the story, who the characters were, and created a book called A Proud History for Alex, which talks about a young man from this community.
Yes.
Who doesn't like to learn about Black history. So
Okay.
he's different than me.
Okay.
But he comes to this museum with his father. And it's so much, as an author, you bring so much of yourself to
You do.
your story, your characters. Like his father goes on the field trip with him, like my father always did with me, because he loved doing that. And so he comes here, and then he realizes that his great grandmother is on the wall in one of the rooms. And all the kids were like, "You're famous." Da, 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 da. And so through his experience here at the museum, his mind changes. I just uploaded a draft. Well, it's not even a draft, but my final copy, I hope, of the follow-up to that book called "Alex Runs for President."
All right.
And that was a fun. And actually, I wrote that 2 years ago. As soon as I finished the first one,
Yes.
I was like, okay, this is my next one.
Yes.
And it really is, again, same character, third grade. In third grade, I ran for class president.
Ah.
And
Life and leadership.
and it's about him running for president and being unsure of himself.
Yes.
So again, that uncertainty of leaders that every one of us has, it kind of that's a through line in both books. It's like him not being certain, but by the end he's empowered and able to do something new,
Yeah.
and that's life.
Yes.
And I was cleaning up the other day, right before I was uploading the final draft. I found a copy of my speech that my mom helped me write.
Oh, wow.
So that's in the book.
Yes. Yeah. Listen here. I am so in awe, but also excited that you specifically chose third grade, right? So I was a high school teacher, middle school administrator, elementary principal, right? Third grade is pivotal.
Yep.
It is pivotal to identity, especially for young boys,
Yep.
right? And so when I wrote Dragon Boy Caden Brown, I had a third grader in mind. So while I didn't want to restrict to just that one grade, that's who I wrote through the lens of a third grader.
Right.
And I wanted it to be to encourage, right, all students, but especially young readers who are at that age where, as you transition from learning to read to reading to learn, and things become more challenging and difficult, that you will continue to persevere.
Right.
So I applaud you, and I look forward to reading Alex Runs for President, but then also Alex's history lesson. So that is amazing. All right. So as we talk again about life and leadership and life. So I know that you are well read, you are highly educated, you have a doctorate in organizational leadership.
Just like you.
Just like me. How would you describe your leadership style? So if you had to think about all the theory that's out there and all the things over time, how would you describe your leadership style?
So I had this revelation about, let's start with personality type. I always come across as type B, very calm, laid back. But one day I had a revelation. I was like, no, you really type A. You just mask it. I do like to be in control. But I guess when I think about So that's my personality. I was so just hurt. And I was like, I always thought I was a type B all this time.
Yeah.
But when I come to think about leadership, so I like shared, there's different leadership types. It just depends on the context, but overall, I believe in shared leadership because I want to build other people's capacity to do things. Because it's so easy for everybody to go, oh, Sundra will do it.
Yes.
But I want you to learn because I might want to do something else, you know? And I want to know that there are people that'll be able to carry on this important work, whatever it is, whether it's a department, whether it's one day I move on from the museum. I want it to be in a good place. So that's succession planning and that shared leadership and shared learning. Like I'm always willing to teach you, but then I'm going to step back and I'll just ask you questions. So what do you think you should do next? So shared leadership with a little type A and a lot of coaching.
A lot of coaching.
I think good leaders are good coaches. Like I had breakfast with one of my favorite bosses of all time, and she was always such a good coach. She always teased me. She's like, Troy, you never had a boss. I was like, that's true, but if I have one, but you know, I always put you up. I was like, I actually listened to what you said.
Yes.
That's how I would describe it. And again, that whole idea of imagining the possibilities and what if, I try to say yes with some questions to think about. I will coach you through it because I just want you to have the best product and be able to achieve your goals so that, again, that you grow. So I like being able to see people who I've worked with doing things and things they never thought they could do if we go back in time. So it's always nice.
Yes. So you may not remember this, but I do credit you for pouring into me and strengthening my lens of equity as a leader when you invited me to facilitate Equity 101. And
Still love that course.
That was a great course. But I thank you for that because that took me from being a participant to being a leader of the work. So I thank you for that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I do remember that. I couldn't remember what course it was, but I remember
Equity 101. So my final question is if you could give 3 pieces of advice, or however you want to frame it, advice to a new leader starting out, what would you want them to know?
You don't need to know everything.
Okay.
You can learn, and you will learn, and you should learn, but you need to surround yourself with competent people who will push you and not afraid to do that and question you so that you can get to a better solution or at least have multiple perspectives to work from. So surrounding yourself with those kind of people. You don't want people that just say, oh, that's just wonderful, you know, because that's a setup. And really have that vision. That's the thing that I found working with lots of leaders over the years, and still, they don't really they'll do good things, they'll do things, but if it's not connected to where you're trying to go, so you need to, what does it look like? You know, as a new leader in my school, I knew that I wanted to close the gap. I knew that I wanted kids to have opportunities and access all these different things that the school had to offer. So I was working from a vision of what could be. And so many people just move forward that in ways that are disconnected to really get into a place where you could say, hey, we got here. Now what's next? So those would be my suggestions. And embrace your fear and lead with courage.
That's right. That's good.
I think you do those two things with a vision, you'll be okay.
I must ask you,
Mm-hmm.
what is BOND?
Oh.
You are one of the co-founders of BOND, B-O-N-D.
Mm-hmm.
What is BOND?
Building our network of diversity. So that's something I'm really so proud of where it is now. Mm-hmm. But I remember Dr. Inger Swimpson emailed me or called me. It's like, Troy, I got this idea. I'm like, okay, let's talk. And we talked. She shared some data with me where 50% of the black males who were hired at this particular district were dismissed before they got tenure or shortly thereafter. And so while we profess we are equity warriors, we profess that we're hiring for diversity, what happens when the folks get in the room? That's the part we miss. That's where the rubber meets the road. And so we kind of brainstormed with 3 other colleagues and begin to kind of flesh this mentoring program out. And it really just started with us doing a lot of the leading. And we would bring brothers together once a month. We reached out. We got access to black male teachers, old, seasoned, and new. Yes. And we brought them together in a space, and then we paired them up so that everybody had a mentor. And some of those relationships were, they're still really tight. And so it became this space, a safe space, yes, a brave space for brothers just to be. Because I know coming to Montgomery County, well, throughout my career, I've been one of the only black men wherever I was. And so I got it. So it was like just a wonderful thing to create that space. Yes. And one of the things we did those first couple of years is we did a survey. And we asked them different questions about their experience as black male teachers in this equitable district where everything's bright and shiny. And we found, when I looked at the data, I was like, Inger, you realize this data is the same thing that all the data says for black boys. So we have men,
yes,
whose experience isn't any different than the young men that they teach,
yes,
or support,
yes,
or lead.
Yes.
And so that was one of the most profound things for me. But now they have a yearly conference, which is really good. And for the first time, I always go, but I'm actually presenting this year. I always miss the deadline. I was like, y'all just put me in. I'll show up. So there's a yearly conference. Just past summer, they were in, or the summer before last, they presented in Ghana. Yeah. Many of them had written books, yes, and articles. There's a web page. They do a lot of consulting. And I'm just, that's one of the things, like looking back and even still being connected with, is something I'm really proud of that actually made a difference.
Hence, Ross Boddy. We just brought it back full circle.
Yep.
This has been an amazing conversation with Dr. Troy Boddy, the co-director of the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and Art Gallery, the retired director of the Equity Initiatives Unit, an author, an advocate, and just an all-around awesome educator. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Dr. Boddy, for engaging in this conversation with me on life and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whether you're stepping into leadership for the first time or reimagining what it means after decades in the field, I hope you've been inspired by our conversation today. Thank you for listening to MANN-O-LOGUES.